Okay, so today we're building a small family farmhouse. Ideally, this should be affordable for a Sims family with 2 adults and 2 toddlers. I'm not totally sure how they calculate the funds when you create a new family, but when I created a new family, 2 adults, 2 toddlers, they were able to afford this with not very much money left over, I'll be honest. I wanted this to be something that was affordable and still cute and cozy inside, but clearly have space to expand or add more details. I'm kind of tempted to go back in and do like a fully realized version of this with everything that I had pictured originally, because definitely near the end when I was decorating the inside, there was definitely a lot of shuffling things around, trading things out for cheaper items so that it was still affordable. But this would not have been possible without the Bidebug plants. I really don't know how I built anything before that. Like, I don't think I really started landscaping until they opened up those items, because they just look better. They look better, they look more natural, they're easier to blend into the world. The footprint of the item is less fussy. I don't know how to describe it, but it's easier to put on the edge of a lot, which you'll see me do later with the grass and the plants. You can really blend it into what's nearby. And you just can't do that with the plants that you pay for, and they're so expensive, the ones that you pay for. And when you buy a house, you're not paying for the landscaping, you're paying for the land and the house. So it's a little frustrating, but I get it. But it's fine because we have debug. I wanted this to be a cute family cottage. I wanted 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I've built a similar house on this exact lot. This is probably my favorite lot, or at least one of my favorite lots in Brindleton Bay. I really like this one, and then the one that's in the dock area. It's the empty residential house that's supposedly a factory. I really like that lot too. But I've built a house that's very similar in style. I think even the same blue shingles on this exact lot, but it was really small and it really only could fit a couple or a single sim. There's no room for a kid, and I really wanted that same feeling, but big enough for 2 kids. And they'll have to share a room, but I shared a room growing up, so I don't think it's that unrealistic. I was fussing around here. I really love putting skylights. I feel like it makes a build that's in an older, not historical, but kind of historical style. I feel like it looks like it's been upgraded a little bit. But I hate when there's an open gap. And because the glass roof would have been over the bathroom, I know it's The Sims. I know they can't smell or hear what's going on in the bathroom, but it just doesn't feel right. Do you have any weird rules for yourself when you're building? Simlessy was talking in a video a couple months ago. She doesn't like putting beds facing the same direction on the same floor. I've got all sorts of little rules that I find myself following within The Sims. Roofing with specifically the glass roofs, when you can see that the walls of the roof don't line up with the walls below it, that really bothers me. I really wanted this lot to feel like it had been around for a while to better fit in with that beachfront area. I didn't want this to look like it had been recently built. So I tried playing with those like beach fences that look like they're falling over, and I do end up using them, but I use them in the back of the house and kind of in the front, not where it is now. I wanted a big gardening space because I like the idea of the person who lives on this lot being really into nature. They garden, it's lush landscape. But yeah, I love putting trash in the yard and like junk. So later I pull out a boat and I have a boat like in the weeds. I just feel like it looks like they've been there a long time. Or at least that the house has been here a long time. I like that idea of a house having a lot of history. It's really challenging to build in the fall, but I didn't have UI cheats installed, so I didn't bother changing it. So you'll see me sometimes holding the plant, like dragging the plants inside so that I can see what they look like with shelter. But it's also kind of fun to build in the fall or the winter because then it's almost like a fun surprise when you play through until the spring or summer, or if you place it in the spring or summer and you can actually see what it looks like. I think Seasons is probably my favorite expansion pack. It just makes everything a little bit more... Oh, here's the boat. And I put lots of trees. Oh, but Seasons, it just... I don't know. The seasons are one of my favorite things about Stardew Valley as well. If you play Stardew Valley, I just think it makes... I mean, the seasons are kind of one of my favorite things about life in general. Like, I love decorating for the season or switching out my wardrobe for a different season. It breaks up the year and it makes like the activities that you do special. Like, I'm only gonna drink peppermint cocoa in the winter. I could drink it any time of year, but by saving it for the winter, I don't know, it gives you something to look forward to once you get to that point. I wanted this to feel very cottagecore is a weird way to say that, but if you know what that is, you understand. Just very soft, whimsical, fairy tale cottage like, but still realistic. This is not a witch's cottage. I mean, maybe it is. You could totally move a witch in here. There's plenty of room in the living room for a cauldron, or in the yard for a cauldron. But just like, I don't know, like a soft, woodsy cottage, but it's also on the beach, which is kind of like my dream because I really love the forest, but I also really love the beach. And you get that with this lot. I think Brindleton Bay is probably my favorite world that we have. It's definitely, like, I've seen some criticisms about it because the lots aren't lined up with the road, and there aren't like sidewalks, so it's not totally clear how you're supposed to even get to the houses, especially with the other houses in this neighborhood that are across the road. Like, they're really tucked into the woods, and there's no logical trail for them to take from the road, which I feel like is an oversight because we don't actually have cars. I feel like that's just like a thought that they haven't, or that they didn't have. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I really love the New England style, especially in the autumn, with all the leaves falling. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I think I play in this world more than any other world. And I think it's fun and almost easier to build in like a New England colonial style because at its core it's pretty simple, basic geometric shapes. And once you get the hang of like those basic silhouettes and those basic shapes of the homes and the buildings, it can be fun to experiment with them and really like stack them on top of each other, or have little widow walks on the top of your house, or like this one's got a barn style roof little dormers. I wanted to get a fireplace, but because I have the dorm roof at the top, you either have to extend it so it's like a really, like it's a 2x2 tile, or you have like this weird gap between the chimney and like the roof, and it just looked weird, so I didn't. Also, it was too expensive, honestly. We were running out of money. And I wanted to keep those blue chairs in the living room, but I do end up switching this out for a cheaper pair. I think I am going to go back and do like a fully realized version of this. So if you're interested in downloading, I'll have that available as well, so that you can either get the one that you should be able to afford with a starter family that you just made, or you can or you can download the fully realized version that had everything that I wanted. Like I wanted the table outside, and I would have liked to put a couple more counters and details in the kitchen. And the patio got really small. I like having the separate like back door, almost like wet room. What is that, like a mudroom section? But I end up getting rid of it here just because the area was so small, because I think at this point I had shrunken it. I might have not shrunken it yet. I'm either just about to, or I don't know. But the patio was so small, it just looked weird that it was separated, and it makes it's a little hard to play when you have everything closed off. Sometimes it's fun to make everything cramped and closed off, but just the way that Sims work, it can be kind of confusing. See, and I would have liked to keep that table. This is when I started running out of money, and so I had to go through and get rid of items. Yeah, I was also trying to stay pack limited with this one so that you don't need so many packs. I do have most of the packs. I haven't pre-ordered Eco Living. I think I want to see some more gameplay. I think I'd like to watch some of the reviews that come out. Who's your favorite person to watch reviews? I think my favorite person is the Lazy Game Reviews. I've been watching his reviews, oh my god, for so long. Because I used to watch his for Sims 3, when Sims 3 packs were coming out. He's probably the only YouTuber that I still watch, that I watched, what was that, like over 10 years ago? But I like his reviews. He's really obsessed with chairs. This is when I found the hydrangeas, and I go around and add a bunch of hydrangeas. I think the hydrangeas in the Dubai mode, the like texture is different. I really should put them side by side and see if they're actually different, or if I'm just playing up the buy debug menu. But I feel like they're more textured, or like the shadow is richer. I'm not entirely sure. Some of the items have a really harsh shadow. I kind of like that though, because sometimes it's hard to get the right depth that you want in the, like, using terrain paints. And so having the ones with like a deeper shadow, it just adds some more texture, just makes it a little bit different. We're almost done. I've surrounded the building in hedges, which not totally thrilled about. If it was just like 2 tiles more on that side, I could have done like an actual thing, like a path or something, but we're nearly done with the house. It looks like I'm still tweaking with things. Oh, I'm switching out the dining room table. I didn't include high chairs because I hate high chairs in Sims 4. I hate high chairs in Sims 3 too. I think they would get stuck in Sims 3. But, so it's probably like the only thing, high chairs and a computer are like the only thing I didn't include that you might need. But you only need the computer for some of the sim jobs. So if you're planning to do like living off the land or anything, you wouldn't need a computer. Or you can save up for a computer. If you do the story mode, then they already have a job. So they already have an income. So you could just wait a couple days and buy a computer. It all depends on your play mode, however you play. I tend to cheat a little bit with money just because I want it to look like what I want it to look like. I don't necessarily want to save up enough money until it can look like what I want it to look like. I usually build the house and then start them with 0 simoleons. Or like a job. It depends. How do you play? Do you have like legacies that you stick with? If you have a legacy, if you're a legacy player, in the comments put your longest legacy that you've played, or like how many generations. I would love to see that. Or if you have one of those like online family tree generator things, I love looking at those. I used to spend hours drawing up family trees when I played Sims 2 as a kid. And it was like one of the most interesting things to me is the family dynamics and who was whose kid and aunts and uncles and all that kind of stuff. We're just about done. I'm really excited to make more videos in the future, so let me know what you think. I didn't include any screenshots because I personally don't look at screenshots, but if you like screenshots, let me know and I'll include screenshots. You can also find me on Twitter, so feel free to follow me there and I will follow you back, especially if you're a Sims person, and I'll see you next time.